Shift happens, sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. And when it does, you have two options. You can either cling to the life you've outgrown or step into the version of you that knows she's meant for more. I'm Gialacqua, trauma-informed empowerment coach and founder of Radical Prioritization. Welcome to What the Shift, the podcast for women who've outgrown the life they've built and are ready to create one that finally fits. Here we get real about the shifts that change everything: identity shifts, career pivots, relationship resets, mindset breakthroughs, and learning how to finally release what's holding you back. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just be ready for what's next. It's time to shift. If you feel like life is shifting, you're in the right place. I'm Gialacqua, and welcome to What the Shift. Today, I am thrilled to introduce you to Hilary DeCesare. Hilary is a 3-time bestselling author, award-winning peak performance coach with 25 years of experience, and host of the top 1.5% podcast, Relaunch to a Rich Life. She's named one of Success Magazine's top 10 coaches of 2025, along with Mel Robbins. Hilary masterfully blends neuroscience, ancient wisdom, and business expertise through her signature 3HQ framework: aligning your head, heart, and highest self, and transformational experiential events, empowering leaders to fully unlock their potential. As a former Silicon Valley CEO and featured on ABC's Secret Millionaire, Hilary is known for her approachable, intuitive, and authentically refreshing style, specializing in helping ambitious women. Hilary, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like listening to that. I'm like, wow, did we write that or did you? That was good. I'm like, who is that person?
Very impressive. We got a lot to dive into today. So tell us a little bit more about Hilary. Who is Hilary and what led you to the work that you're doing today?
Oh, what a great opener, because I think we're all contemplating that at this point in our life.
Of
Who
course.
who am I? And what do I really want to be? Right. So when I think about, you mentioned that I have a company called the Relaunch. What is a relaunch? A relaunch can be a life situation. It can be around health. It can be around your company. It can be around growing it, scaling it, changing careers, all of the above, especially like relationships that you have at work or with the people that surround you, friends, family. And I found that, and you said 25 years of coaching, and I've coached people from startup to hitting their IPO. And there's one thing in common with everybody, and that is we are not isolated and siloed into just being our business. And I have had people have the greatest success and are miserable. And then I've had people that, get that sweet little like bit of success and they're like the happiest and most like, fire in their belly. And what's the difference? What changes? And so I think that when I look at who I am over the years and as a midlife woman at this point, I would say I'm a mom. I'm a stepmom of 2 great bonus kids. So 5. I got a little bit of the Brady Bunch here. I was able to use my processes throughout my life where I had a divorce and thought immediately I'm going to find someone right away. Well, 7 years later I did, but it wasn't as fast. And I've had the health scares. I've had melanoma, just had another cancer on my head removed. And yet, when you think about life right now, and you're going through personal relaunches, everybody has them. They're hitting more frequently now. You've got professional relaunches, and then we've got these global. And the global ones are more significant, more scary, more impacting. So it's like the trifecta is happening. And so when I think about what I'm here to be doing, it's really helping people gracefully get through the transitions and not have them completely cripple us, have them be springboards, launch pads to what I know, because I've seen it with thousands of my clients, what I know to be true about small shifts, which is what I love about What the Shift, these small shifts through neuroscience, through psychology, through ancient wisdom, things that I did not learn when I was at high tech Oracle, Silicon Valley at all. Stay in your lane, logic thinking, don't talk to me at all about anything emotional. It's now people are saying, Hilary, can you just help me along that path? because they know it's a relaunch effect that when you start to shape one area, especially the internal, the external follows.
Mhm. So powerful. I love that. And so much to dive into. So let's first just touch upon this concept of a relaunch, right? Because people think of relaunches in terms of, like you say, brands, a business. But talk about what does relaunch mean to you in the work that you do?
So here's the thing. The comment that I hear all the time is like, "Ugh, like I got to start over. I need to reimagine and reinvent and do all this stuff, and it's exhausting." But a relaunch takes, all right, this is where you are today. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? I mean, you are who you are today because of all those fighting girls within you. And we don't want to ignore them. We don't want to wipe the slate clean. We want to say, all right, that's part of who you are. I talk a lot about highest self, and that's just the best version of you. And your highest self has that wise woman. And that wise woman is the accumulation of all the little girls, all the things that we think we messed up with, the times that were just so hard. My grandparents were killed in a terrible car crash when I was about 12. And I'm like, I go back and I'm like, God, thank you, 12-year-old Hillary. Yeah, I don't know how you got through that, but then there's something else. And so there's this, it's like a nesting doll. When you open up a nesting doll, that outer shell, there's that terrible squeak sometime that happens like as you're turning it, but you got to keep going because you can't get to the next level. And so what I like to say with relaunch is, all right, we've all built these hard shells. I get it, done it, but it's not helping you get to your own rich life. It's keeping you stuck, overwhelmed, underwhelmed. And so let's like not even like try to turn it. Let's just throw it on the ground, bust the thing open, and be able to say in very clear terms, this is what I'm going for. And so it's in your business or in your career move or a shift there. It's what are you looking for? What do you want? What is the next? What is a lifestyle of success to you? What does that look like? And by the way, it doesn't have to be what the norm states. And so a lot of times people are like, I don't feel like I really belong. I feel like I'm kind of like my friends from the past were not really like, it's great to see them for a day, but how do I really truly connect with them now? I don't really have the people that are in my work community now that I'm connecting to. I want to connect with them. There's some that I really would love to even do traveling and experiences with, but how do I make all this happen? And that is where I step in. And I mentioned this before we hit play. When I was single and just had this, there's no divorce that's great. And I was very interested in learning about love. I love love. I do. I love love. I mean, I think our frequency is based highest at love, where you're like in your jam, you're in your groove, you're in your like, oh my God, this is my flow. But when you're searching, especially online, and you're searching in all these different areas that like we're not used to, it was one of those moments that like, what the heck? How do we do this? And so I went back to the oldest profession in the world, well, maybe the second oldest, and I became an international certified matchmaker. And it was fascinating because although um, I don't do matches of men and women, I do matches of women to women with personal, professional, kind of the career moves, the experiences. That's what I love. And I realized, but wait, there's always that moment of like, what do people really want? And initially people are like, I want the money. I want the success. I want the visibility. I want. And that's great. I love to know because that's your remember when you used to say, okay, well, tell me about the top 25 things that you want in a man. I want him to be 6'2". I want him to all these different things. I do the same thing. And then I'm like, all right, cool. But now let's really talk about how you in this list see yourself
Mhm.
and which are the most important. And then I start to be like, okay, great. Let's have massive success. Let's grow your business. Let's scale it so that you're not. I noticed that there was something about that I read about, most women really actually truly want a 4-day work week. Hell yeah. Let's make that happen.
Yeah,
Let's do that. So I help
for sure.
people rise. I help people up level themselves. I help them go from not the version 1 to 2, but like version 10. to 100.
Hmm. Love that. Love that. And so, in the work that you do with high achieving women, what would you say are the biggest sticking points? Because women get stuck, and we'll talk about what that actually means. But um, we stay stuck very often, and it's hard to shift out of the identity that has gotten us to where we are, right? Like has driven our success because there's fear, there's a lot of different factors. There's the how it'll be perceived. What do you see as the biggest sticking points for women who have sort of outgrown that old identity but are hesitant to pivot?
So here's the thing, there's a reason that people are stuck, and it's all brain based. So when you think about, you've got this brain that really came into being about 200,000 years ago, and same brain really didn't change much even 2,000 years ago. And now in the last 100 years with the industrial age, things are like rapidly like, oh my God, like it's just crazy. Being in the tech space, I saw it firsthand where it was like massive, massive changes, but your brain didn't change. So here you go. And we have a hardwired brain, and your subconscious is there to do two things, keep you safe and keep you familiar, because anything outside of that could cause massive issues. It could cause you to die. It could cause you to have, your biggest fears come true. So when you think about that and you think about its job is to keep you safe and familiar, when you have an identity, the identity is merely your thoughts and your emotions repeating over time when you were young, repeating over time, creating a belief, limiting belief, I'm not good enough, to an empowering belief. Wow, I am really great at fill in the blank. But the thing that we're not told is that your limiting beliefs and your empowering beliefs are your reality. So your beliefs are your reality, which then means your reality is your identity. So next thing you know, I just did a whole thing on this yesterday. Money. What's your belief around money? And I got to tell you, hearing 50 plus people say, you know, money's hard to make. Money is something that you have to hold tightly. Money, I love this one. This was another one. Is it that you believe you need to make money to spend money to have that success? Or do you need to spend money to then make the money to have the success? Really different thoughts, right?
Yeah.
What is it to you? And everyone has a story behind it. So when you can identify that belief, that's your reality, it's your model of the world, then that's where you can start to say, well, no wonder I'm stuck at 250,000. No wonder I'm on the relaunch roller coaster of I have a good quarter, I have a bad quarter, I have a good quarter, I have a bad quarter. But when you can, and this is the most important thing that I actually thought came out of yesterday, when you can identify that you have that belief and we can look at it as a story, I'll give you a great example of what happens. So there is a fabulous woman that was at 750,000 for the year. She'd always had it. She was completely like, can't get through to seven figures. I just can't. Well, we created this whole kind of like a storyboard around what is your story around money? And we started to identify that she came from what she called the other side of the tracks. Her family did not like the rich people over on the other. If you had a new car versus a used car, that was considered like a wasteful thing to do. And so all of a sudden she's like, yeah, so I've never bought a new car. She stayed in her identity. And even though like she was moving up with the, 750,000, she just couldn't break through. So after we did this, and I'm going to take you through one of the tools, after we did this and she realized, she's like, oh my God, I have this belief. It's limiting. It's keeping me stuck at this old identity that I don't want anymore. And she blew through it. I call it the belief blaster. What happened? Within 2 months, she passed the 1 million mark, keeps, continuing, and she's going and going and doing that. But when you realize it happens for her, it can happen for you. And people are like, oh, but that's her, but she did it differently. Our brains are all the same. It's how we use them and how we leverage them that matters.
Incredible. That is such an incredible story. So you teach women how to align their head, their heart, and their highest self, which I love. I think that's incredible because a lot of high achieving women are very heady, right? We're stuck in our head. So I love that framework. Tell us a little more about what that means and what the 3HQ framework looks like.
So I'm one that I like to keep everything super simple. And having come out of a very male dominated world and then switching into, I started to become an entrepreneur that created software companies, security companies, very like still male dominated. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening here? And was absolutely in my head with my thoughts. My beliefs were like taking over. I would go into these meetings where there'd be like seven men staring me down. And I mean, I got caught up in the, oh my God, they're never gonna invest in my companies. So when I realized that I wasn't even connecting anymore with my heart, my why, my like, what am I really doing? One of my companies was to keep kids safe online. And I'd go in there and I'm like only focused on the money and I'm like, stop. And when I actually said, I'm done with the approach I'm using, and I started to think, wait a second. So I am all in my head. I got to get out of my head. And there's steps to do that. And then I gotta tap more into my heart, more into like, what am I supposed to really be doing here? And when I started to tap into head heart, it allowed me to get into the space of my best version of me. And it allowed me to pop in to an energy level that's higher than fear. There's a great Dave Hawkins has the vibrational energy chart where he lists out that your energy when you're in fear, when you're in shame and blame, and oh my God, here we go again. There's all these men sitting there, they're never going to invest. I'm low vibrational level, which means law of resonance resonates with what I'm attracting. So I'm putting out there, not saying it, but thinking it, because our thoughts have the same energetic pull as your words. And what happened? You know what, Hillary? Yeah, sorry. No, we're not interested. I'd be like, ah, as soon as I flipped it and I started to use head, heart, highest self, and I have a very simple process to get in there, everything changed. I ended up raising almost $10 million. So it's a matter of we are not taught how to leverage what we naturally have. And our head right now, our mind, our subconscious is still stuck in an old program. So if you never update any of your apps and they're all like in that old version, things start to break, right? Oh my God, this isn't working anymore. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing, there's a Zoom bug right now that's causing, sometimes your audio goes out. And you have to upgrade in order to fix it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm helping people upgrade with 3HQ. And it's something that you can constantly be thinking about, not just like, oh, I think about it once a month, like every day, 5, 10, 15 times a day. And you mentioned at the beginning, I'm a peak performance coach. This is the number one peak performance mastery system, and everyone can become a master in less than 5 minutes. It's the greatest thing.
Incredible. So, how do we start to connect with our heart and our highest self? What are some things that we can start to do on a day to day basis?
Yep. So again, 3HQ, headquarters of you. They're all within you. Greatest part. You don't need to go out and buy anything. And again, you can master this and it's a 2-minute process. So what I would love to do, because it really helps define 3HQ, I'd love to take you through it. Are you game?
Sure.
All right, Gia. This is it.
Let's do
Get in
it.
a comfortable position, and
Let's
everyone
do it.
listening, just be thinking about what you would be saying. Okay. So you can go back and re listen to this. So it's a 4-step process. It's called tune in. And I'm not going to go into the neuroscience in each of the 4 steps, but just realize it is like a happiness cocktail for you. There's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins woven all into it.
Love it.
So you get your daily dose every time you do it.
Better than a
All right.
glass of wine.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, and it won't leave you hungover. It'll leave you the exact opposite. So, what you do is the first step is what is your biggest challenge that's going on right now? What is it? This is very head based, right? I'm in my head. So, Gia, what is your biggest challenge right now in business?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, I think there's a couple different ways to answer that. But the thing that comes up for me, my biggest challenge in business, initially, in the past, I would say it's focus. My energy was scattered, and so I've learned to be more focused. But now I would say it's more on conversion, meaning my content is resonating, the insights I'm getting great feedback on, but the conversion from insight to activation is probably an area where I could do better.
Oh, okay. So I do want to say something.
Yeah.
Activation. Okay. When you say energy is scattered, this is the tune in process. It will help anybody out there that is having issues with focus and with having that scattered mind, with the squirrel brain. It
Yeah.
is just really going to be. So it's going to help you with that, even though we're not focused on that one. So what we're going to say is it's insight to activation with conversion. Okay. So that is your challenge. Now, challenges don't have to be bad. They can be, good, bad, and you see them
Opportunities.
all,
Sure.
but they're in your head. Like,
Mhm.
why haven't I done this? How do I make this happen? I want to do this. And you can do this with any of the areas: health, wealth, relationships, all of it, all of the above. So that's step one, very much in the head. Step two is where we go into changing the channel. I mentioned Dr. Hawkins and we're low vibration. Where are you right now? What's your emotional state right now? If you were to say, are you lower energy, higher energy? This is where we go from wherever you are. And if you're high energy right now, awesome, I can take you higher. That's the best part. So when you think of changing the channel, what we do, neuroscience says that you need to listen to a song for 20 seconds to change your state. But the song that I say is it's your power song. Power song. So what is the song, Gia, that when you hear it, it lights you up? You cannot be low energy. You cannot be in that lower emotional state. What would be a song?
So one of my favorite hype songs is Unstoppable by
It's
Sia.
so
Oh,
good.
good. I
Wha-
play that in the car before I
Yep.
walk into
Okay.
keynote or something, right?
Okay. So I love you just said that.
Yeah.
So now you are already, and everyone think about the song that you go and you work out to. And oh, when it comes on, you're like, yes, I love this song. So we're going to go into Unstoppable. And I want you to think of the song. And here's the best part: you do not have to play it out loud. Again, it doesn't matter out loud, internal. So, G, I want you to hear the song
Yep.
inside. I want you to hear it for 20 seconds. Move your body head to toe. Just move, changing your state. Okay. Are you hearing it?
Yep.
Gia, turn it up. Come on, girl. Move that body. All right. So here's the thing. Are you
Yep.
are you starting to feel it internally?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is the best part. Now we move in. And by the way, that is very much heart and highest self right there. Because right now you're like, yeah, I'm in my element, I'm in my zone. So now we go to step three. And step three is where you create the mini movie in your mind of what success would look like from that challenge. And it's already happened. You are on stage, you are the star. And guess what? Everybody in the audience is looking at you and they're smiling. They're like, tell me how you did it, Gia. Oh my God, I want to hear. And you're up there and you're wearing like a dress or a suit or whatever you're wearing. And I want you to say, what color are you wearing?
Pink.
Pink. I want you to 10x the pink. So bright. What we're doing right now is we're lightning rodding our heads. Like if you had probes on your head, things would be like going off in all directions right now. I want you to hear your power song, Unstoppable. And now I want you to think about, how do you feel right now as you're giving this amazing information on, hey, I did the conversion, I had the insight, it's activating. People are coming in, they're looking at my content and they're saying yes to the next step. How does that feel emotionally? To know that you've done it. You have gone from insight content to activation. In fact, everybody coming in is like, I want to work with her. I want to take that next step.
I would feel energized
Okay. I want
and
you to think about that
fulfilled.
energized, fulfilled. And I want you to 10x that emotion. You've got to be like tingling right now. This is like everything that you're thinking about, your future, your success, your outcomes, they're all happening. Step three. So now we've done
Yep.
step one. What is your challenge? Step two, change the channel with your song. Step three, you're seeing it. You're lighting up with the color. You're seeing people nodding, saying, give me more of that, Gia. I want more of that. You got that incredible emotion of energizing going through you. And then we go to step four. Step four is back to the head, and it's a micro pop, a micro action. You hear the song again, and you're like, what did Gia in step three do? Because again, you're up at a higher level, you're asking better questions, you're getting better answers. That's the level. Law of resonance allows for law of attraction. So, law of vibration, law of resonance, you're resonating with what you're going for, and you're attracting it through action. the law of action. So, what would be, think of the song again, what would be a micro pop that you could take as soon as we're done with this show that you would go and do? Small, small, small. You do not have to do big ones. What would that be for you? One thing to make that happen.
Yeah. So, I've had my relaunch or a couple of relaunches. That's easy to talk about. But the stuff that's harder to talk about is the vulnerable parts, the messy parts, which gives other people power to do the same. It helps them to
Mm.
realize they're not alone and that it's hard, but you can do it. And so I think it's sharing more
So how could you
of,
share? Do right as soon as we get off that would be a micro pop to really get connected with that vulnerable storytelling?
yeah, I love that question. Um, think about some of
So
my
maybe
most powerful
document that,
shifts.
right? And then here's the best part
Yeah.
of tune in is that then the next time, which should be later today, you can go back into tune in, same song. You go through step one is still the same, step two, step three, but maybe step four, the micro pop is I'm going to get on a story. I'm just going to share something right now. That's the micro pop. So imagine you do three things, three tuned in micro pops. Imagine you do 5 days in a row. That's 15 micro pops. Where do you think you would be with your inside to activation at the end with 15 micro pops in? This is what I'm talking about. So people are blown
Incredible.
away with the process. So how does it feel to you right now? Do you I like what's coming up for you with the tune in process?
Yeah, exciting. And it's almost like the information is rattling around with- right in the subconscious and there's so much there. So it's kind of like how do we pull it out? How do we really pull out those the nuggets of wisdom that are already there and bring that front and center? But it's
So I
it's
want to
definitely
give your
exciting.
list way to use TuneIn. I use it before every single next event on my calendar, whether it is a creative event, whether it's a client call, a group call, a podcast, a TV show, whatever it is, I tune in. And for step one, I said, what's the challenge? Well, when it's good, it could be what's your intention. So when I came on your show, I did it literally 2 minutes before, and I get in. It allows you to have clarity on what am I really doing? Why am I here? Because how many times do you go from one thing to the next and it's blurred? The lines are so blurred. You're not giving yourself any time to just be like, wait. So you bring in energy from the last meeting, right? And that comes in. Your clients know it. Your actions are totally like in reference to that. I mean, so I say on your calendar, 5 minutes before you end your meeting, you get into the 2 minute tune in process. And people ask me, Hilary, do I use the same song over and over and over again? I have five go to songs. One is for when I'm like going on a show. So it's like inspiration. It's like, boom, this girl is on fire. Alicia
Mhm.
Keys, it's like, boom. So I,
Love that
I
one.
already
That's
have
a
them
good one.
programmed. I have one when I'm doing anything it's like revenue generating. I have another when it's creativity. You pick your buckets of what do you see throughout the day? What's on your calendar? And then you just it's instantaneously. I literally can walk from the house to my office and I go right into it. Like I know, okay, this is my next one. Boom. Tune in. And I have the chills. I have the people on the next call, it's like they notice it. And I mean, I got to tell you, 9 out of 10 times, the intention that I set, holy, it works. Like, I get it. Like, boom. And so that's why
Makes a
HQ
big
is so
difference. Yeah.
powerful. And that's why literally the tune in process, if I were to die tomorrow, I hope that like out of all my clients, they would be like, the tune in. I use it. I use it all the time. People that were skeptical, that came to me, they're like, "Oh boy, here we go. It's so woo, Hillary." I'm like, "Really, is it? Because it's all science backed." And then I'm saying, but wait a second, who knew woo could be so good
Yep.
for you? Have you ever given it a shot? Like, let's do
Yep.
it.
Absolutely. That's incredible. I love that. And it's so powerful, just those shifts and to think about how you can reset yourself as you're transitioning from one thing to another, whether it's meeting to meeting or, even on the back end of your day
It's the
for parents, right? For the moms, not bringing that energy
100%.
from work
You tune
home.
in, whatever it is, gives you. If you're driving, great. You do it
Yeah.
in the kind of if you're
Yes.
walking. you do it. You can do it at any time. And I have some programs where we have lists of micro pops for all of the like the number one challenges that I've heard over time, right? And it helps like when you're going through it, it's like, hey, I want to do 10 tune-ins today. And here's a list that I can pick from. Ooh, I love that. I love that. I love that. So it really is something that you tap into that highest self. You tap into your wise woman. People come and say, Hillary, I want to get more intuitive. This is the way to do it. Like literally, this is how I start with anything that is strengthening your intuition, accessing so that you're not just hearing that voice came in or, oh, I got that like that kind of nudge in my stomach or, I felt it, I felt the tingling from my head to my toe. It's like, but did you hear it? The
You're
yeah.
listening to it. You're cued into it. Yeah. Because we've somehow
Wow,
tuned
that's
it
what I
out.
say.
We've learned to ignore
Time to
it.
stop tuning out. It's
Yeah.
time to stop saying, I'm so stuck. I'm so
Yeah.
stuck. I'm so overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
Is this company going to thrive or die? Is it like, stop? We have to stop because if we don't, we're in that
Absolutely.
constant survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, what happens to your brain, your thinking brain, it actually shuts down. When you're stressed, it stops working. So then you're pushing through and you're like, God, nothing's coming to me. It's like writer's block, but for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes so much sense. So, Hillary, just before we wrap up, I would love to know you've lived many relaunches in your own life, right? Through divorce, through cancer, through solo parenting, through, selling companies. What would you say those pivots taught you? What is the biggest lesson you want to leave people with? And also kind of what was your biggest shift moment? What is the
I
biggest
could kind
shift
of
that
wrap
changed
those
everything for
2
you?
in one, and I'll never forget it. I was having my twins, and I was nursing both of them at the same time, so I know it's a terrible image, but I want you to know this. The phone rang, and I noticed it was our vice president, and he was calling to inform me that while I had been out for 2 weeks, they had hired a new manager that I would be reporting into, and aren't we so excited? And when are you coming back? And I said, wait a second. I didn't even know that there was a new manager position and the other person was leaving. And oh, yeah, yeah, but we've already got it. It's perfect. You're going to love him. He's been in this. And I said, I know him. That's not the point. Why wasn't I considered? And he literally laughed. Ha ha ha. You have kids now. Of course you don't want to do that. I said, no, actually, I want to be considered. He's like, but we've already hired the person. We've already told him. And I said, but you didn't ever tell me. So at that moment, it ended up going through the interview process. They did. I think they realized legally that they had this. And they ended up giving me the job. First day, I walk you this room, all glass. I'll never forget it. And there is not only the team, but this guy who now reports to me, the guy who got the job. And I'm like, just that. Are you kidding me? Like, really? So, what happened that day is that within a 6-month period, I realized I had gone for something out of spite, not because it was heart based, but because I felt I deserved it. This was injustice. This was wrong. And I ended up hating the job. I was gone from 6 in the morning until 7 at night. And so it was that moment that taught me, can we please get clear on we do things, why we want things, because it will help you eliminate a lot of the wasted time on things that you think you want. But in reality, you're going from a different place. And so 3HQ can kind of, and tune in. My gosh, that would have been a great moment for me to be like, hanging up with that vice president, tuning in, being
Absolutely.
like, my challenge is, do I really want that job? Before I went for it, I raced right in, like all hands on deck. I'm going for it.
Interesting. Such an interesting story. I love that you asserted yourself in that moment and then had a pause moment to think about, wow, is this actually what I want? So I guess for our listeners, one way to think about that would be, ask yourself, why are you doing
Take
the
it through
things that you're
3HQ.
doing,
That's,
right?
I mean, honestly, if you do,
Yeah.
is this like a head decision? Is this really heartfelt? Like, do I really want, like, why am I really doing this? And then energetically, like, does it really light me up? when I think about it, if I had really sat there and said, do I really want to leave my babies at 6 in the morning and get home when basically they're going to sleep?
Yeah.
It was terrible. I really am an advocate
Mhm.
of one of the things I teach is the clarity key, and that's part of 3HQ, the head. It's part of the head. And getting clear, getting
Yes.
clear because it will
Yeah.
eliminate a lot of headaches that you will end up having.
For sure. Yeah. And what or who is driving
Exactly.
those
Ex-
decisions, right? Yeah, I love that. I love that. This has been incredible. Hilary, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, for sharing your insights and your expertise. This has been such an enlightening
Well,
conversation.
thanks
And
for
thank
playing
you for
along,
the
Gia. And I thought it
exercise.
was really interesting. I hope that your audience found it too.
Amazing. So tell us, I know you have a live event coming up in September. So tell us a little bit more where our listeners can find you and
So you've
learn
heard
more
about
about your
connection.
upcoming
You've heard
event.
about like how important it is, I feel, to not just be like-minded, but be like energy and in the room and being able to be present with people that are going to take you to the higher level. So I created, and I've done this numerous times now. We're having the next one in Scottsdale, September 18th, 19th, and 20th. And it's called Relaunch to a Rich Life. It's highly curated around like how can we take ourselves to a higher level in health, in wealth, and scaling your company, in relationships to that highest self so that it's the best version of you. It's the lifestyle of success. But more importantly, it's the experiences of sitting at tables, doing things with the women that are, I mean, off the charts. It's just, it's so exciting for me. I literally just got chills as I said it. And so, what I thought as I came on, remember I tuned in, I'm like, what can I do? What could be my micro pop? And I thought, what if I offer, and we're right now at, we're at this point when you're probably hearing it's going to be getting close to being completely sold out. But right now we're at 50%. And I would like to offer your listeners a code that would give them 50% off the tickets. And so the code would be shift 50. Shift 50. And again, it's going to be 3 days of high energy, high impact, highly curated, what we need to know about how do we elevate ourselves, how do we upgrade ourselves the fastest way. Because I'm all about time management. So with love, and I'm my fingers crossed that we've talked about it, that you're going to be coming too.
Absolutely. I would love to be there. So thank you so much. That's Shift 50. If you're interested, it sounds like an amazing opportunity. And the other thing I love about the work that you're doing is you talk about living a life that's rich, but you don't mean just in terms of wealth, right? We're talking about all of it: health, relationships, love, all of it. So I think that's absolutely
I love
incredible.
it. Those
Thank
are
you
the
so much,
happiest
Hilary.
people.
Yep, for sure. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Now go make shift happen. Take care. All right, Shifter, that's a wrap on today's episode of What the Shift. But here's the thing: awareness is just the first step. The real shift happens when you decide to do something with it. So before you go back to business as usual, ask yourself, what is one thing you are done carrying? What's one shift you're ready to make? And if this episode hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and send it to a woman who needs to hear this, because we shift together. Remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step. And I'll be right here next week, ready to shift with you. This is What the Shift, and we are just getting started.